All right, how you going? It's SamPaul, and we're back for another episode of Coffee with SamPaul. And we're at a lovely little cafe in Norwood on the Parade. Check the comments for details of where and how you can come and check it out for yourself. But I'm very pleased to have with me today the Joe O'Brien, stand-up comedian, tour guide, and a very interesting journey of how she came to do these things. So we'll find out about that right now. So, how you going, Joe? The Joe?
The Joe, thank you very much. I'm excellent, thank you for the coffee.
Oh, pleasure.
5 shots, skim milk.
Oh yeah, this is like, you know, like, would you like some milk with your coffee kind of coffee? Anyway, let me just have a quick sip.
Excellent. Do you want some of mine?
No, thank you. I will probably fly home if I drunk your coffee. You should see it. It's actually like, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's very coffee. I think there's about this much room at the top for milk at the top because there's so many shots. But I'm impressed. So you mentioned just before we got started, there's an interesting sort of journey to becoming the comedian that you are now. Would you like to kind of give us a bit of a background of how that looks?
Yeah, so I got into comedy to spend quality time with my husband.
As you do. I mean, that's the first thing I think of when I think quality time with a significant other is I've become a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, well, it was one of his interests, and so I used to tag along and perform, and I wasn't very good, to be honest with you, because I didn't really, it was just like time with him. We're divorced now, so obviously it worked. No. And then when we divorced, we kind of divvied up who was doing what. So I said to him, you can have comedy. I don't really, it doesn't make my heart sing, And so he was like, oh great, because it's always his thing, and I always supported him. And eventually I met Chris Myers in the Garden, one Fringe. We'd been separated for probably 6 months, Ben and I. And Chris said, oh, I really want you to perform, and I kept putting him off, and I was like, I'll see, I think I'm busy or whatever. And in the end I thought, I said to Ben, Chris wants me to perform. He's like, oh, go for it. Next thing, I think I did like 60 gigs in about a few months.
Wow.
It's like 3 nights a week, and I was just getting stage time experience. And I developed The Joe from that.
That's a great name, by the way.
Thank you.
I know I did tell you before, but I just wanted to say it on camera. Yeah. That's a great name.
There's actually, can I tell you the story why I call myself The Joe? It's actually quite funny. I was at work one day, and I worked on Fullerton Road, and a parcel got delivered to me, Joe O'Brien, on Fullerton Road, and it was a Dana's mop, like Dana's Direct mop, and I'm like, I didn't think I was that drunk that I ordered it, right? So I'm looking at it, and the address is not the same number of Fullerton Road, so I've gone, oh. So me being me and being the helpful person I am, I walked the mop to the other address on Fullerton Road, which was just past where I worked. And I walked in with this mop, and I said, is there a Joe O'Brien here? And this girl turned around and she said, oh, that's me. And I looked at her and I went, oh, I've got your mop. And she's like, how did you get my mop? And I said, oh, I'm a Joe O'Brien. And she goes, no, I'm Joe O'Brien. And I said, I'm the Joe O'Brien. And she took the mop, she didn't say thank you, so rude. And then I sort of walked back to the office and I was like, yeah, I'm the Joe O'Brien. And that's sort of how it came about.
That is a great story.
Yeah, I should have kept them up. Really.
You should have. I mean, like, you know what?
Becoming useful.
Anyway, that's a fantastic story, and I love that you run with it. I think sometimes some of the best things we do in life just come about from circumstance and
from the most mundane things.
Yeah,
like a mop.
Isn't that pretty much what comedy's about? Though you take the mundane and make it something really fun and interesting.
I'd hope that that's what I successfully do. After spending a lot of time doing Chris's shows, he offered me the opportunity to have a Fringe show last year.
Wow.
And I'd only really been doing it seriously for a few months, and it was just this dream come true. My show was called #No Regrets.
Yep, love it.
And I performed with a fellow comedian friend, and we had a whole lot of fun doing it. It was the reason I don't have one this year. I explained to people it was like having 3 weddings.
Yeah,
because and I've had 2, so if you want to be prepared.
So 2 weddings plus a show that was like 3 weddings. So basically, you're telling us you've had 5 weddings.
Basically,
yeah,
it was, you know, the anticipation and,
Yeah.
and all that. We were very, very lucky. We had good support. We were down at Port Adelaide, which is an interesting place to have a fringe show.
Yeah.
But the guys at the Naval Association were wonderful. They were so accommodating. And Tanya, the girl that I was working with, we pulled off a really great show together. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. So my stage persona is DJ O'Brien. As I've said, I've been called arrogant on stage, as in I flounce on. And from the very second I open my mouth, I don't really invite opportunities for heckling. I don't ask the audience how they are, how they're going, any of that, because to me, and this is just my personal thought, they're here to see you.
Yeah.
So I give them a performance. And it took me, I'm a much more comfortable person as a comedian doing that than when I first started and I was nervous.
Yeah.
All the rest of it. I have to tell you the funniest thing though. I recently, this is great. I recently did a performance at Starplex in Gawler.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to MC for Akmal.
Okay.
I know.
Akmal Sully.
Yes, name drop.
Yeah, so Akmal Sully, you were supporting.
Yes, MC.
MCing, even
So,
better.
so I ended up doing about 40 minutes all up the entire night, which was a bit more than I anticipated. And I literally cleared my schedule for like 4 days.
Wow.
Before, so I had everything, you know, exactly where it should be.
Yeah.
And this is where the funny thing is, I used to work at Trinity College next door as a teacher.
Okay.
I hadn't been there for 10 years. So I walked out on stage and I saw all these people I used to work with and parents of students, and I haven't been there 10 years. So it was, to me, it was kind of like, I'm going to swear in front of these people. So I walked out and my legs started wobbling. And I was like, because when I get nervous, my knees wobble.
Okay.
And so I used that in my first joke, which landed extremely well.
Oh, that's great.
So I used that nervous energy, because I was so prepared to flounce out and do my usual thing. And when I saw all these faces, I knew I was like, I taught you a child. God, you worked in the front office.
I can't even imagine what that would be like.
And because obviously being a school teacher, you have a certain way you need to project yourself, and it's definitely not standing on stage talking about tampons.
Oh.
Not that I did.
So they didn't include you in their curriculum on sex education? Or?
No, but it was really, it was a great opportunity, and this is my plug. Obviously I did a reasonable job because the lovely Nathan at Starplex, who was in my Year 8 English class, has invited me back in November to MC for Matt Tarrant. So
wow, that's incredible. That's really great. Well done.
I'm just thrilled to this.
Yeah.
I saw Matt's show last night actually at the Fringe.
Yeah.
There would have been 600 people there.
Wow, that's incredible.
And I was like, I'm very excited. It's wonderful to like yesterday, for example, it was the world's dreariest day.
Yeah.
I went to see a show in the afternoon, then went into Gluttony. Got to Gluttony, the heavens open, there's thunder, there's lightning, people are running and screaming with their umbrellas in case they get electrocuted. I'm not even exaggerating.
No.
I was helping that day by going, oh, there's lightning. And to see Matt Tarrant with 600 people or so, like 500 to 600. Then I went to see a show called Rouge. Wow. And that again was packed. And it was just, it was, they were amazing. They were like, you know, all that's like spinning around and like all the flipping and all of that. And I just thought, I was sitting there last night, mind blown.
Yeah.
And I thought, we've got such an incredible array of talent that we can access during this festival. Like, you know, and they're right next door to each other. We had Choir of Man next door. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
I haven't.
Fantastic. And it was just, it's amazing.
You know what, actually, speaking of that and the array of talent you speak of, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but it was right smack bang in the middle of COVID. And so we were limited on what performers could actually get here, and still they nailed it. Like, there was so much great talent, even though we were limited to who could come over from interstate or overseas because of the restrictions we had. And it just, like, I was doing a radio show up until recently of Australian music, and again, the talent in this country, both musically, creatively, artistically, is second to none. Like, we don't give ourselves enough credit a lot of the time, I think.
I do actually, I'm sort of performing in the Fringe.
Okay.
So my job, I'm a tour guide.
That's a very important job because I got lost in the garden going up to advice. I went live.
I take people to haunted places.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
So tonight, so I work for a company called Ghost Crime Tours.
Okay.
Love you guys. And basically, it's my job to take people on crime walks and also run paranormal investigations.
Oh.
So tonight I start at 8 at the jail with a tour, and then from 11:30 to 3:30 in the morning we have a paranormal
Of course, it
investigation.
goes to 3:30 in the morning.
It has to.
Way past my bedtime.
It
so.
has to, yes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
when all the ghosts come out.
Yeah.
Just kidding, they're always there.
Yeah.
But we do tours as part of the Fringe every year as well. But we actually do them every weekend as well. Like people just don't realise.
Wow.
It's a fantastic, it's the best job in the world. It really is.
It sounds like it.
It's so much fun.
How did you get into that?
Okay, so obviously when you're a school teacher, you have a certain set of skills.
Yeah.
And one of them, of course, is public speaking and knowledge, retaining information, that sort of thing. And when COVID hit, I used to travel a lot.
Oh, wow.
So I used to travel. COVID hit and I really couldn't go, thank you, I couldn't go anywhere. And I thought, geez, I need a job, you know, because I didn't know how long it's going to last. And literally, I was on Facebook one day and this ad came up from Ghost Crime Tours, again, plugging in. And it said, do you think you'd be a good tour guide? And I was sitting there and I was like, yes. Do you love crime? Yes. We're not doing it, like history. Do you love history? Yes. Do you think this is... And so I applied and I didn't think I'd get a sniff in being an ex-teacher, especially history. Notoriously, I've been told we're boring. And I got an interview, and this is the coolest thing ever, right? My interview was at the Old Adelaide Jail.
Yeah.
I got lost. I got lost and I was a bit late because it's not easy to get to. It is now. And I flounced out of my car, full of confidence.
You flounce a lot.
I flounce.
Yeah.
I do flounce.
The Joe O'Brien professional flouncer.
So I flounced out and met the guys, Darren and David, and yeah, they hired me on the spot.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, life's very different, life's very interesting. But life is also full of opportunities. And I think that the great thing about having the skill set from teaching is I honestly believe I could do anything. And I'll give it a go. Last year I was lucky enough to sing in an Anzac Day service.
Yeah, right.
I'm not a singer, I'm a comedian, but I said yes. There were a few tense moments as I struggled my way through a ride with me. But I nailed it with Advanced Australia Fair afterwards, so I redeemed myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just figured, you know, just if you can make people happy, whether that's through tours or comedy or whatever, I mean, isn't that a great reason to get out of bed in the morning?
Oh, could not agree with you more. Could not agree with you more. You know, I feel like if I was to do what you were just saying you did with the Advanced Australia Fair, I'd probably end up looking like a really cheap knockoff video activist. Because I literally do not know much past the first few lines of the words, so I have to make them up. And you know what? I think
look, hang on.
you don't have to. She did it. 5 shots. All right. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of the cafe because I am terrible at pronunciations of difficult words, and for me, the name is somewhat difficult for me.
It's got an S and then an F. That's the thing. It's because.
But I will put a link and a logo at the end because I was just thinking as I was drinking this coffee today how bloody good their coffee is here, and the staff were actually amazing. I'm like, look, I've got my own cups. Can you do that? Yeah, no worries. I need to get 5 shots into that little mug. Yeah, no worries. We'll make it happen. Can we use that area that no one else is in that looks like a shut off? Yeah, sure. Go sit there. No worries. They've been so accommodating. And Joe, you've been amazing.
You've been amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
You've been amazing.
Yeah, you were all amazing. If you're watching this, then you're amazing. On that note, thank you for watching. Thank you for being on the show. And all the best for you.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Pleasure.